What is up, YouTube? I'm Mike D. This is the Whack and Check, and if you're here, you already know what's up. With that being said, check out that intro. Everybody's got to start somewhere. Now get off your ass and build something. One thing I've always wanted in an office was a little bit of a library, which can consist of a bookshelf, and B, a wall bar, or just a bar in general. You always see it in the movies, like shady congressman deals, where pouring a shot of scotch at noon because everybody can day drink, and they're like, "Hey, we'll work on this deal." Um, I could throw a shelf on the wall with a whiskey bottle and a couple of glasses, and we'd just call it a wall bar, and I could be on with it. But I'm a woodworker, and we don't do anything like easy or just plain. A piece of pine here. We're going to go ahead and do our first mark at right at 17 and a quarter. Just so you know, this is 3/4 inch thick and 11 and a quarter wide. It's got our mark on there. We're going to go ahead and cut this, and we're going to do some crazy cuts with this here in a minute. So I went ahead and made sure we had a little bit extra. You probably won't end up using all this on your build. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way. All right, so we got our pine laying here. We got everything measured off. This distance from here to here is the exact distance from this center pin on this router to the outside of the fence. So whenever you set it up here, it'll end up removing probably about 1/8 of an inch of material, and that's what we want. We just want it to give a little bit of lip on the bottom. This is going to be the start of our tambour doors. All right, so now that we got that all cleaned up, you should have this little lip on both sides, just a little bit bigger than 1/8 of an inch. And I forgot to mention when I'm doing this, you want to keep your grain going lengthwise with your lip on the outside. It might seem stupid, but it's actually going to play in a lot to the strength of the build whenever it's done. All right, so if you guys that don't know what a tambour door is, it's one of the old sliding style doors, slides in a track. They're actually pretty cool if they're done remotely close to right. But a lot of people don't take into the fact, and the first time they do a tambour door, myself included, they screw it up because they don't take the actual curve into effect. Imagine driving a semi through a roundabout. It's going to take a lot more effort to get that length of that vehicle around that radius. Now imagine driving like a smart car around a roundabout or a go kart, because they're pretty much the same thing. You're going to be able to do that with a lot more ease. So we're going to want the measurements down this edge. I want to do them at every 1/2 inch. Once that's done, take your straight edge. All right, stuff got a little squirrely over here, but they're all marked out. Took the square edge, made sure they're all straight. You notice along the bottom here, I've numbered them all the way across. This is going to come in super handy whenever it comes time to place all these back together. So our next step is going to go over here to the miter station with the sliding saw on it, and we're going to cut each one of these lines. Don't remember to take in a factor for your kerf. I'm lucky enough that I have a shadow line backlight on my saw, because this saw's a beast, and it's probably one of the best bargains you can get at Harbor Freight. Not sponsored. Just going to throw that out there. So you want to put your line directly on the line you etched. That way it'll, in theory, it's not, but in theory, going to divvy up the kerf on both sides of it, so you have a 1/16 of a difference on one side and a 1/16 of a difference on the other. Split the eighth down the middle. So we'll fast forward this next part, but I'm going to try to keep you here without getting impaled by these little pieces that fly off here. All right, so we got a piece of Ponderosa pine here, wherever they market it as. Really just a bunch of pine wood that looks like they've put together and planed down, but it's going to work great for what we're going to do. Here's where some math comes into play. Take one of your strips, set it up in the edge, allow 1/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom, and then mark your line. We've already measured ours at the beginning of the video, so this is going to come out right at to 11.5 inches. Take your straight edge, make a straight line. You're going to need at least one of these, maybe two. Got our 11.5 inch section this way. All right, so now what we're going to do, because these are going to be the side panels, we're going to measure this, and it should be 14. Yes, it's 14. Have 14.7, straight line down the middle at 7 inches. I'm going to cut this. You guys don't need to see that. I'll be right back. Now that we got these cut, this is where your math has got to start mathing, or you're going to have like some Homer Simpson spice rack thing. Yes. All right. This right here is going to be notched out, and that is going to be the track that your tambour doors are going to slide on. Only problem is, wood chipper's fired up. You're going to need two of them, or you're just going to have a floppy door that you got to move out of the way. But do not fret. I figured out the formula for this, and I'm going to show you guys right now. All right. Right off the top, you want to mark this at 3/4 of an inch. Three-quarters of an inch. I use the tape for this, so we're going to continue using tape in case they're off just a little bit. We don't have no juice like that. 4 inches. 4 inches. Now, damn it now, Billy. Come in from the side. Three-quarter inches on both those again. All right, so I'm going to go up here to our 1/2 inch line. Make sure we're square. Bring it down. There we go. Do the same thing. 3/4 inch line. Mark it the same way. Here's the part where it gets crazy scientific. A can of stain, or anything that's round on that matter. I don't care if you use a beer can as long as it's got a flat edge. We're going to use that for our center axis on this, but we already know that these boards are 7 inches. So we want to come in on the line, and we want to put a 3.5 inch mark so we know that that's dead center. Have the lip touching both the outside and the inside line. Do the same on this side. Now, normally we just draw this out and you'd have that, but you have to take into effect. This is going to be your top. So we're going to go ahead and write top on this. We need this side in here to mirror this side, which means if the door is going to be centered right here in the middle, it's only going to have to come around here to completely be hid away. So we're going to have to make this our long side. And I'll show you that now. What I recommend doing if you don't have one, buying an old metal compass. All right. You notice this side is shorter than this side by an inch. Okay? The long side is always going to be on the front. So a good metal compass with 2 points on it. Go ahead and trace out that entire line, just like you're using a marking tool. So whenever they sit on top of each other, that track will be identical on the top and the bottom. I'm going to get a router set up so we can take care of this. I'll be back here in just a second. All right, so I've already got an 1/8 inch round in this, okay? We've only got the depth set to just a little bit over an 1/8 inch. And we're going to go ahead and trace around the inside of this area where we scored. Take your time on this. Might take a little bit, but it'll be worth it in the long run. I'll fast forward through this. Just like that. We're going to do the other one. Be back with you in a second. Well, we set these off to the side. We're going to go ahead and get the back of our tambour doors done because they're by far going to take the longest to get where we need them. We're going to reinforce them with a little bit of stapling too, but these are by far going to be the hardest part of it. And once we get out of the way, the rest of this build's pretty much a breeze. So what I've done is I've got a scrap of leather, and I mean a scrap. It's super flimsy. And I've measured it to where it can go right across the back of these doors. My most favoritist, some Gorilla Glue. And it's going to take a little bit. Take one of your cutoffs from earlier. Smear that out. Take your leather. Put right across the middle of that. Set some heavy stuff on it. Preferably not while it's lit. All right, this next little bit. Come back to our piece of wood. We know that these are 7 inches wide. But we're wanting to take and go over 6 3/4 inches. Use your square. Clean out that track, make sure there's nothing in there. We're going to need 2 of these. All right, so now that we got these cut, we want to give them an overall length of 11 3/8. Eleven 3/8. Meet you back over the workbench. All right, so pieces we just cut, you have one side, 2 sides, your top with the track cut in it, your bottom with the track cut in it, and your middle support. With the way I want to go with this, we're going to come to this piece right here, and we're going to remove an extra 3/4 inch off this side. All right, so this whole tambour door thing, I got to set up where our whiskey bottle's over here. Don't pay attention to this middle brace yet. It is in no way squared nor centered. It's just giving us support we need. So the ideal is you got this piece up here, just kind of looks, aesthetic. But you're supposed to be able to grab this, and once the tracks are clear of all sawdust and everything, it should slide freely around the back, exposing a shelf here with a glass and a glass. Or for that matter, we could put the whiskey bottle on this side with the glass and the glass. It's entirely up to you. But now that we know the concept's going to work and all that good stuff, we should probably square this thing up a little bit. Go ahead and sand out the track, clean it up, all that good stuff. Do our last little bit of sanding on our tambour door. Do some routing around the edges. So we just Shou Sugi Ban this piece of wood, which is a real fancy term for we burned the living dog shit out of it. Unfortunately, my camera wasn't recording, and that's kind of like a one and done deal. But I'm pretty sure everybody knows how to burn wood. Just burn it till it starts crackling and flaking like that, and then you're gonna get a wire brush. What that does is it pops all that grain out and gives your piece a more tactile, three-dimensional look. Like you can literally feel where each part of that grain is, and if you hold it up, the light hits it just right. You can see it as well. So that'll be cleared, and the tambour door will be done. We're going to take our square. We're going to come over right to the edge of the long section of the track. Take it straight across the wood. Draw our line. If you notice, we've got a 3/4 to 1 inch gap back here. That is going to be so that piece can sit butted up even with that line, and it'll still have room to pull the door in front of it as well as stop before it makes contact with it. So we're going to go ahead and slide a brad in there real quick. All right, so I took this piece of scrap wood we had, cut it to fit, and I set it here, measured where I got a gap above and below, make the cups fit in there. I use this side over here to kind of like hide the hooch, but it's coming along pretty good. I think I'm going to have to take another piece of leather or something and reinforce the top right here behind this as well as the bottom. Keep them from spreading like that, but that shouldn't be that big of an issue. Where I got the main piece secured in there. This is in terrible need of like a good sanding, a cleaning, staining, painting, all that cool stuff. But the build's actually coming along way better than I thought it was going to, and I'm loving the way this grain looks, especially as it rolls out of the way. All right, to make a little bit more stability on this outside edge here, I went ahead and got a full-length 3/8 dowel, and I've already cut one off enough to measure and go all the way through the bottom or through the top, and then set in a recess in the bottom. Put those at the corners, that way the door will still have a little bit of room to roll around it. But if you're going to hang this on a wall or anything, this would probably be a good idea, just because it's going to be supporting some weight. You're going to have a bottle of liquor in there and some glass, and let's face it, no one wants to do the party foul of dropping their liquor, right? where it drops through, make sure you grab your square. I know that somebody out there will be salty if I don't do that. Okay, before drilling that second part, just want to prove that that'll clear around that and not go all the way through. Just like that. All right, so before we give this a torching and a sanding, I do want to take the chamfer bit, just a 45, and I want to go around the top edges and around as much as the outside of as I can. I'm not putting a whole bunch of chamfer on this, just enough that it's noticeable. Give her a good sanding over, just a hand sand. Let's get on the burn. All right, so behind me is not look like a Vietnamese bar fight broke out. I'm actually in my mother-in-law's kitchen, which she lets me use to keep my laser up and running because I pretty much homeless at the time. Complete with the old cardboard air exhaust straight from the trap house. So down here, I've got XCS running with a couple programs up, and here I've got the backer for the wall bar. It's framing it out right now, and it'll most likely make short work of this whole deal. All right, so we popped our laser back or our laser backing in here. Couple stags. Build's pretty much done. I'm gonna mount this on a wall, so I'm not real hell bent about the back of this side over here, putting a backer on it because the wall will act as a backer. We're gonna brand this baby. We're gonna clear and show you how everything works out. All right, y'all. Wall bar's done. Had a blast making it. Had a couple hiccups along the way. I edited those out. Just a minor shaving here and there. You got to get the tolerances for these right here and the up and down of the tambour doors just right. A couple things I want to mention. You might notice it in the video here. When I Shou Sugi Ban the doors, if you notice, I left the wider planks on the sides of it. It's because hopefully the wider planks would draw more heat than the narrow planks. As you can see now, I cut those off from the leather backing. That's because whenever whenever wood heats up, draws what moisture is left in, tends to curl. So I wanted the piece with the most moisture to draw the heat. Just dirt baby trick picked up along the way. I really like this thing. I think it looked cool on my desk, looked cool on my wall. I'm not gonna like pop a top and get a chug of liquor here, because I'm afraid YouTube might get a little salty about the whole monetization and the use of alcohol and all that stuff like that. But nevertheless, had a blast making it. I love making this stuff. If you guys like seeing me make stuff like this, you need to let me know. I can make more than pumpkins and candle holders. I promise y'all. Let me know where y'all watching from. I'm always curious. I've had a couple people from like the UK, Wales. I've had a couple people from Australia message me and stuff like that. That's super cool. I mean, I'm not begging for comments or anything like that, but I'd like to know where my audience comes from. So if you could drop a comment, let me know. Other than that, like, subscribe. God bless. Love y'all. I'm out.